The Third Court of Appeal of General Jurisdiction in Sochi upheld the verdict in the case of sabotage on a gas pipeline in the village of Perevalne in Ukrainian Crimea. Nariman Dzhelal was sentenced to 17 years in a strict regime colony, and the brothers Asan and Aziz Akhtemovs were sentenced to 15 and 13 years in a strict regime colony. According to the investigation, in August 2021, the Akhtemovs, allegedly on the instructions of the Ukrainian Special Services, blew up the gas pipeline, and Dzhelal was accused of introducing the Akhtemovs to one of the alleged organisers of the sabotage, who cooperates with the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine.
The defense spent 3 days explaining the violations committed during the preliminary investigation in the trial court. It pointed out that the first testimony of Nariman Dzhelal as a witness, which formed the basis of the accusation, was given by him under pressure. The court excluded these testimonies from the evidence of the prosecution, but did not change the verdict of the Southern District Court. Public Association of Human Rights Orientation Crimean Solidarity informs on the Crimean Solidarity website.
Any combination of yellow and blue colors provokes a strong reaction from pro-Russian activists in Crimea and is prohibited. Conclusions about the persecution of people by the Russian authorities for the blue and yellow colors appeared in the British intelligence report in early June.
The clampdown highlights uncertainty within a paranoid Russian officialdom of what is and is deemed permissible within an increasingly totalitarian system. Criticism of the arrest has come from an unexpected quarter, the ultra-nationalist pro-war Liberal Democratic Party. The party's own branding features yellow on a blue background. The Ministry of Defense of Great Britain on Twitter.
One of the most high-profile cases in the Russian-occupied Crimea associated with yellow and blue symbols is the case of Bogdan Ziza from Yevpatoria. He doused the building of the Russian administration of Yevpatoria with blue and yellow paints and threw a Molotov cocktail at it. He was charged with terrorism and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
You cannot turn off the brain of the population, but you can intimidate it. Therefore, these criminal intimidations are carried out by the Russian special services and allegedly controlled pro-Russian activists. They are looking for manifestations of Ukrainian symbols, and very often they are overtly repressive actions.
Despite the challenges and dangers, there are civil resistance movements in the temporarily occupied Crimea. They regularly record damage to railway tracks and derailment of freight trains. Each case becomes a reason for the persecution of the Crimeans by the Russian security forces. So at the end of May, a local resident, Kyrylo Barannik, was detained in Simferopol. He was accused of damaging the railway tracks in the village of Poshtova-Bakhchisarai district. He claims he was forced to confess under torture.
During the interrogation, despite my confession of guilt, they tortured me. They put me on a chair, tied my arms and legs with adhesive tape, attached electrical wires to my fingers. I always had a mask on my head during the torture. The electric shocks lasted about an hour. Kyrylo Baranyuk, Crimean, the Crimean Human Rights Group, reports. These so-called pro-Russian activists, they are looking for any manifestation, not just of a pro-Ukrainian position, but simply of anti-war position or simply some kind of disagreement with any actions of the aggressor. And they clearly are trying to punish these innocent people, just to intimidate the population, to demonstrate some sort of control over the situation on the peninsula.
According to the human rights organization Crimea SOS, at least 14 local residents in Russian-occupied Crimea have been harassed by Russian security forces since February in connection with the search for those responsible for sabotage on the railway. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Bil, UATV News.